Okay, now, good afternoon, everyone. So, because we are done with the nature and the scope of travel writing, so we are now going to move on a more detailed discussion on travel writing, which is the writing process. Okay? So, this will be the final scope of our midterm. Please get through with this file together with the PDF file that is uploaded to your G class so that you can cope up with the topic. Okay? Okay, now let's start. Okay, so let's have first the objectives of this lesson. First, learn the writing processes in travel writing, understand the rewards of travel writing, have profound knowledge on the medium of publishing opportunities. Okay, now let's start with the rewards of travel writing. We are all wondering why full-time employee or maybe government employee, when they started traveling, they will shift their career into travel writing. So let us know what are the rewards. Why did they do that? Okay? What are the rewards of travel writing? Okay, so every year, a few dozen people around the world make a living traveling and writing full time. And if that's your goal, go for it. Okay. But you don't have to get paid full time or even part time to profit from your travel writing. Whatever your goals as a traveler and writer, the rewards of travel writing and of approaching travel with the travel writer's mindset are numerous. Okay, so let's enumerate some of the rewards of travel writing. First and foremost, you become a better traveler. So what does it mean? Meaning, before you are just traveling to enjoy, to make fun, to explore, to discover yourself, to be alone, or to be with your family. But now, you are a better traveler when you write during your travel. Okay? Sometimes you don't appreciate so many things on your travel. But because of travel writing, you get to appreciate everything. Okay? You get to appreciate even the simplest thing. Okay? You will focus on your subject, which is not that important to you, or sometimes what interests you. Okay? So you became a better traveler. Right? You became appreciative. You became respectful of all the aspects of traveling, the people that you are going to meet, everyone. Okay? And then the second reward of travel writing, you arrive at your destination having already learned something of its history, culture, and important sites, making you far better able to explore and appreciate what it has to offer. Okay. So as we discussed on its nature, you have to research before your travel. Okay? Why? Because you have to be accustomed first. You have to be educated first, okay? What if yung pupuntahan mo does not allow your nationality, for example? Like, for example, you're a Filipino and in that specific place or in that specific country, banned ang Filipino. So, how would you go through or how would you push through um, with your travel, right? So you have to research first. And because you have researched pre or before your travel, you already know its history, the place history, the culture, the important sites. Okay? Then, pagdating mo doon, it's just, it's more of appreciation na lang. Because you have already been informed with its history, with the culture, with the description of the sites. So, nandun ka na lang para i-justify if what you have researched ay totoo. Okay? Also, because you are open on the lookout of trends, unique places to visit, and essential hotspots, you gradually build up a store of knowledge, becoming more and more of a travel expert. Okay? So, because you've been familiar with the trend, specifically, we will be discussing it later about the travel trends, the leisure trends. You have already the store of knowledge. Meaning, built-in na yung knowledge mo. Okay? And then because built-in na yung knowledge mo about that specific destination, about the activities in the destination, you are now a travel expert. Okay? So here, as you can notice, ang rewards ng travel writing, it does not include money. Why? Because unfortunately, or maybe for others it's not unfortunate, okay? Some of your write-ups will not be paid, will not get paid, okay? That's the reality. Not all travel writers are rich because of travel writing, okay? They tend to be just a traveler, and then they write, and then they publish their write-ups. But sometimes they are not paid, okay? But beyond that monetary incentive or the reward that they will get from travel writing, more rewards, more intangible rewards, or more important rewards are ahead of them because of travel writing. And ito nga yung tatlo na yon. So when you are on the road, traveling as a travel writer will force you to pay attention. You will look more closely, listen more clearly, taste more carefully, and continually reflect on what you're experiencing. So dun mangyayari yung appreciation mo. As a result, your travels will be deeper and richer. In addition, you will often be able to go behind the scenes at a resto, for example, or in a hotel. Okay? Finally, after you have returned home, or if you are blogging, when you're still on the road, you will be able to relive your journey over and over in the course of writing about it. And when your account is published or nailathala na siya, sharing your travel experiences with others, whether in a magazine, newspaper, travel website, or personal blog, will further multiply your pleasure. Okay? All of these effects will broaden and extend the significance and depth of your travels. Okay? So, hindi na banggit yung money. Okay? So, if you are really into it, like for example, you want to be a travel writer, at first, you don't have to think of the money. Okay? Yung monetary richness. You have to look on your more or a deeper richness or significance na makukuha mo in travel writing. Okay, so as a travel writer, you will have a fundamental commitment to your reader to explore the place deeply and fully and to report the information your reader needs to know by writing an honest, okay, fair, objective, and accurate portrayal of the place, okay? As I was telling you from our past chapter, integrity, okay? Being transparent is the travel writer's compass and key, okay? So if you think the destination is not that good, then write about it, okay? Write honestly. Okay? So let's go now with the most important part of our chapter, which is the writing process, okay? So we are done with everything, with the introductory of travel writing, the nature and the scope, the characteristics, okay? So now let's have the short course for travel writing, okay? This chapter will only include introductory or until the middle part of the process, because it's a process, it's a bit long. So let's have until the middle of the process, okay? So there you go. We have two questions over here. First, what do you want to write? Okay? What do you want to write? What subject do you want to focus on? Or sino ba yung gusto mong i-feature? What do you want to feature? What kind of travel writing would you like to apply? Okay? What kind of article you want to publish? Okay. And the second question here, do you have what it takes? Okay? Do you have what it takes to be a travel writer? Yung mga qualities mo ba? Is it matching with the needed qualities of a travel writer? Okay, now let's continue. Okay, now let's have a deeper look on deciding what do you want to write, okay? Travel writing is long, and there are numerous destinations along the way. Travel publishing today presents an extraordinary wealth of mentors to learn from and outlets to target. Okay? If your principal or your main goal is to share your travel experiences with others without necessarily receiving compensation, that's easier now than even before. You can create your own space online where you can post your writings and photographs. In thousands of blogs, everyday travelers are sharing their wanderings with the world. There are also community websites where you can post your experiences and opinions. If you just want to create and communicate, these options are for you. Okay, so it gave us lots of options. Okay, but if you want some compensation for your creative communication, you'll want to target websites that pay, okay, as well as newspapers and magazines. Starting a blog and building it to the point of making money is an option for entrepreneurial writers, or it can act as a stepping stone to other opportunities, okay? So if the goal of your travel writing is not to make money, or maybe you just want to be heard, or you just want to be noticed, then you can start, according here, you can start your own space online, okay? Because now it's really prevalent to just write, take photo, upload your photo, make a great description about it online, right? It's very easy and it's free. Okay, and you can start your own blog, for example. Okay, maybe not on a specific website, but in your social media account. Okay, so starting a blog and building it to the point of making money is an option for entrepreneurial writers. So this is what I'm saying, that if you really want to make money out of your travel writing, you can. Okay? Just focus or just choose the company or the target market that you will have to apply for. For example, we have here newspapers, magazines. Okay? Or yung mga malalaking marketing company. Okay. So the next question that we have earlier, do you have what it takes? So let's have now the essential qualities of a travel writer. The first quality of a travel writer, first, be flexible. Okay? Be flexible. Okay, now, one of the hallmarks of travel writer's life is its general instability and spontaneity. Okay? This is equally true both at home and on the road. At home, you have to be able to drop everything and take off for a far-flung destination at the moment's notice. Your life is dictated by the whims of editors and printer deadlines. To a certain extent, you can negotiate timelines with editors, but often their deadline just cannot be adjusted. And then, if you're not flexible, you risk losing the commission. Okay? So you might also risk building yourself a reputation for saying no, which you definitely don't want to have in a close-knit travel editorial road. Okay. So what does it mean? Be flexible. So, what we are discussing now is the industry itself, okay, of travel writing. So it says here, nature of travel writing requires time. It requires real-time description of your write-ups, and also Being flexible has to do also with how you manage your time, with how you manage yourself, okay? Because you don't want to miss opportunities. For example, if you are really aiming for a paid travel writing or travel write-ups, then you have to meet deadlines, right? So you have to sacrifice a bit of your life, or maybe half of your life. For example, your schedule. Um, for example, you have a family bonding, so you have to sacrifice those to be able to meet the deadlines expected of you. Okay, so that's the first quality of a travel writer. So, and then the second one, be adaptable. Okay, so it's connected with the first one of being flexible. If you want to maximize your chances as a travel writer, you have to be just as ready to explore everywhere. Okay? This means that you need to have a closet full of suitable clothing and gear, but even more important, you have to have a head full of suitable attitudes. Okay? Are you equally at home on high seas and low roads? Can you keep your cool in hot situations? Okay? Is your stomach strong or are you susceptible to illness? So, meaning, because you are traveling, so you have to be able to adapt with the environment that you are in. Okay? Naturally, the place that you will going to, it's not the same place that you are living on. For example, you are here in the Philippines and then you want to post a travel write-up about Japan, for example, and then all of your papers are ready, uh, and then you are ready to go. But then, because of lack of research, you don't know that in Japan, winter pala ng araw na yon, or winter ng season na yon. So what are you going to do? You are packed, really ready to go, and then after arriving in Japan, you get shocked that it's winter. So, and then all of your clothes in your suitcase are not for winter season. So, being a travel writer, you have to be adaptable. Okay? You should be the one who is capable of adjusting to any environment which is ahead of you. Okay? And then live modestly. What does it mean? Okay? Now, let's get this out of the way right now. It's not likely that you are going to get rich as a travel writer. So, it's just a sad reality, but it's an eye opener for everybody. Okay? It's really nice to get to know that in travel writing, there is a percentage, or maybe a simple, or maybe a low percentage that you will get rich. Okay? You will certainly accumulate an uncommon wealth of experience, but to be a travel writer, you need to be able to live on a precarious income. If you are a freelancer, you never know how much you're going to earn in a year, and you don't know when the money you have earned is going to come in. Okay? So, because maraming nakakaapekto in the earnings that you are going to be acquire. So, hindi naman siya sure lahat. Hindi sure ball lahat ng earnings mo. So, what do you mean by live modestly? Okay, so meaning you have to be at least live simple, live a contented life, for example. Okay. So as you can notice, 'di ba, yung mga traveler, they are not wearing social na mga clothes when they're traveling. It's not that because they don't have money, but they are comfortable with it, okay? And for them, may mas mahalaga pang kailangang paglaanan ng kanilang mga nakikita in travel writing or in with their income. And it's not important of how they wear or what they wear or how they look, right? Because what's important is kung saan sila pupunta. What are they going to be discovering in the process, okay? And then let's have the next essential qualities. Let's have an understanding family. Okay, why is it important? Okay, so because the industry of travel writing, as it says here today, gone tomorrow. It is the nature of travel writing. Whatever you lost opportunity right now, lost na yan forever. Okay? Actually, it's not just in travel writing, but maybe, although also in our lives, right? So you have to have an extraordinary understanding and supportive partner who is able to carry on without you virtually at the drop of hat for uncertainties and sometimes prolonged periods of time. Okay? So because you are traveling or because of travel writers are really off the road every day or every year, every month, they are not at home. So what they need or who they need are a family or partner or someone who can understand their schedule and their terms. For example, they will not be able to attend family bonding or family vacation, family gathering. So they have to have an understanding family. Okay. The next, be curious. So why is it included in the essential qualities of a travel writer? So curiosity is one of the prime characteristics common to all great travel writers. They are constantly studying the world around them, asking how things work and why they appear the way they do. Okay? So it means they are always asking, right? They are always curious. Okay? Because they want to know more. When you are curious, you have the intention of knowing more. Of knowing the things that you don't know. Okay? They always observe and absorb. Meaning, they observe and whatever that they have observed, they are absorbing it. Right? By means of new information, new experiences. And they always talk with people. For example, they talk always with waiters, taxi drivers, sales assistants, fellow travelers. Okay. It is essential to have a passionate and insatiable curiosity about the world, and it is equally essential to keep recharging this curiosity so that you bring a fresh eye and renewed enthusiasm to each new place and story. Okay. Because travel writers, they tend to travel a lot. So sometimes what they see in this specific place, they already saw it. Nakita na nila yan. Right? Or na-experience na nila yan. Natikman na nila yan. So, because of their curiosity, or because of their eagerness or their enthusiasm in knowing more things, they always ask, right? And what they ask sometimes, hindi na yung mga historic sites, not the destinations itself, but the people. Right? Because as we said, bago sila nakarating sa lugar na yun, na-research na nila about that. So, ang pagkakaiba na lang sa lahat ng pinupuntahan nila are the people that they are going to meet. Right? O yung mga nakilala na nila. Or yung communities. Right? So they are always, or as a travel writer, you have to be curious because if you are not curious or if you are not eager to know more, to educate yourself more, you will not be able to learn more, okay, or to experience more. Next, be tenacious, okay? Travel isn't easy, especially when you're on a mission to track down information and experiences that will make good travel stories. Okay, no matter how exhausted and overwhelmed you may be, you have to keep plugging on, overcoming cultural differences, leaping over language barriers, smoothly swallowing stomach tumbling foods. You have to find the courage to talk with people you've never met and to learn to trust the kindness of strangers. Time after time, place after place, you can't give up until you've got your story, and then you can't give up until you've written it down and the editor has accepted it, and that is time to start the next story. Okay, meaning you have to be patient. Okay, you have to learn how to be persistent. Okay, next, be motivated and disciplined. Okay, actually, this is not applicable only to travel writing. It is applicable to everyone, okay? Be motivated and then disciplined. Okay, so the example here is if you are a freelancer, you and your only boss, and procrastination is your enemy. You have to make yourself sit down at your desk every day, organize your material, plan your story, and write. You need the self motivation to repeatedly rework and resubmit your articles, and the organizational skills to manage travel schedules, workloads, deadlines, finances, and networking. On the road, you need the discipline to be continually researching, interviewing, taking notes, and gathering information. Wherever you are, travel writing can be a relentless, ongoing, time consuming balancing act that requires unstinting dedication. Meaning, your motivation or your discipline should not be changing. Okay? It should not be changing. Hindi dapat ikaw nagbabago nung fire within yourself, okay? So, dapat hindi pwede dito ang ningas hugon, right? Because if you were a travel writer, you have to start in this 100% courage or 100% determination of yourself, and then until the end, hindi pa man napapublish or whatever your goal is, until you didn't meet that goal, you have to be 100% yourself, at least until the very end. Okay? And don't be easily discouraged. Okay. Think of your favorite travel writer. Whoever they are, at some point in their time or their life, they were unknown, struggling to get a foothold in the writing world just as you are today. They faced rejection probably many times, but they always persevered, continuing to send in their proposals and stories to editors, okay? So, whatever setbacks or whatever failures, don't be discouraged. Okay? If if in the first time you failed, or if in the first time your travel write-up was not chosen or hindi siya na-published, it was nearly published but hindi siya natuloy, don't be easily discouraged, okay? As we all know, mayroon at meron diyang makaka-appreciate ng work mo. Okay? Kung ano man yung work mo, yung subject na gusto mo mag-focus, meron at meron dyan who will appreciate. Okay? And then let's have passion. Finally and fundamentally, you have to have passion. Passion for people, passion for the world, passion for the whole business of traveling, and for exploring and integrating discoveries into precise and palpable prose. Travel writing is essentially a lonely profession, and it is your passion that will sustain and reward you. Okay? So, it is easy to travel, right? For example, you are alone. It's just easy to travel alone. But to have passion for those people na mamimit mo, or for everyone you will be transacting with, or to the whole world, it's not that easy. Because there and there, we have all the differences within us. Okay? So you have to create that sense of understanding, that sense of acceptance within you towards them to have the great passion. Okay? Yung passion minsan mahirap yang i-achieve, especially if you are not wholeheartedly willing to give the passion na gusto nilang matanggap mula sa'yo. Or sometimes passion, it doesn't have to be asked for. It must be a natural way of showing empathy, for example, to people, okay? O yung passion mo sa trabaho mo, it's innate, okay? No one can ever dictate passion, okay? Now let's have So now we are done in determining the essential qualities of a travel writer. Now let's have getting published. So, paano at saan nga ba napapublished or nailalathala ang mga write-ups ng isang travel writer? The world of travel publishing has experienced a kind of accelerated evolution over the past decade, okay? The technological development and popular expansion of the internet as a publishing platform has profoundly affected its traditional media siblings. The traditional publishers have adapted their print publications to fit the age of the internet, in some cases expanding their presence on the web while simultaneously cutting back on their printed pages. So before, printed pages lang yung mga editorial boards, right? Yung mga editorial companies. Kung nakakapanood kayo ng mga Hollywood films, wherein yung setting is most of the time in a marketing company or in a publishing company. Okay, di ba, manonotice nyo doon, lagi silang may deadline, and then nag-aagawan sila ng project na i-feature, right? So, yun yung traditional way of publishing an editorial write-up. Same thing with publishing travel write-ups, okay? But now daw, because of the technological development, so, easier na yung pagpapublish. Actually, because of the technological development, the introduction of internet, may mga pros and cons din siya, right? Especially in the presence or in the time na pwede mong i-view yung specific na na post, for example, or ng travel writing, right? Because if it's printed paper, until the very end, you will read it, right? You will read it until the very end because it's on your hand. It's tangible, right? Pwede mo siyang basahin or babasahin mo talaga siya until the very last page. But sometimes, if it's online, you can notice, even in yourself, di ba, minsan, you just read the introduction until the middle part. And then, up to the end, if it's not really interesting, or it's a bit interesting, di ba, madaling mawala yung attention natin. Why? Because in social media, napakaraming options. Ang daming options, competing ang options. Yung range ng resources, mataas. Okay? So if you are not well good enough or if your write-ups is not that organized, the thing that you will encounter, mananawa yung reader or hindi mo mahuhook yung attention nila or they will transfer to other editorials or other write-ups na makakapag-caught ng attention nila. Okay? So, let's have the range of publishing opportunities. For the range of publishing opportunities, we have first the online. Okay. So, I know you are all familiar with the word online. This is where most budding travel writers will start out, even if it's just through a too long Facebook post about their last holiday or a restaurant review via TripAdvisor. Okay? The opportunities for self-publishing online are limited only by your imagination and technological sophistication, and that can be easily learned. For some entrepreneurial travel writers, blogging becomes a source of income. Okay? If you don't want to start your own blog, there are countless places where you can submit your writing for publication, though making money from such opportunities is challenging. Okay? Okay, so for online, napakadali daw maglagay or mag-post ng isang travel write-up. You just have to make your Facebook post. Even if it's long, di ba? Wala namang limit. Kahit napakahaba pa niyan. And it's free. Right? And what's best about that, if it gets the attention of the company you are featuring, sometimes may mga perks and rewards, right? Or if madaming sumunod or madaming nag-rely dun sa reviews mo or dun sa write-up mo, like for example, ginawa din nila yung ginawa mo, for example, you will be noticed, and dun mapapasok talaga yung entrepreneurial side ng travel writing. Dun ka talaga kikita. Okay? Now, let's have the other medium or range of publishing opportunities. We have newspapers. Okay, so for the newspapers, di ba newspapers, it consists of different sections. Okay? So, may mga travel coverage doon which features a write-up or a specific travel write-up by a specific writer. So, let's see, or maybe you can research if that is specific, like for example, sino bang nag-a-apply for that? Is that the writer who will apply for the coverage of his or her write-up in the newspaper? Or pinupuntahan ba siya or kinukuhanan ba siya ng statement ni newspaper? Okay? Here you can research about that. But the most important thing that we have to know is that you can also include newspaper as an option for the publishing opportunity of your write-up. Okay, then let's have the magazines. Magazines focusing on travel continue to flourish, and lifestyle general interest magazines regularly include travel coverage in their pages. Okay, so I know all of you, you've read at least a section in a magazine. Okay. Virtually every airline has its own in-flight magazine, which publishes articles about the destinations to which it flies, and publications that focus on specific subjects, activities, or regions often feature travel pieces. Subcategories within the travel world have also developed audiences and publications of their own. For example, family travel, business travel, gay and lesbian travel, and adventure travel. Okay? So, these are just examples nung mga fini-feature na travel coverage ni magazine. Okay? And then, travel literature. Many major publishers produce works of travel literature on a regular basis. These tend to come from writers with already established reputations, but some newcomers break into the ranks every year. Smaller publishers represent much better opportunities for writers who are not already well known. Travel anthologies are an excellent market for narrative travel writing. Okay. So, ito yung mga pinapublish talaga regularly. Okay? Yung may mga assign talaga dyan na bodies who will look for new, expert, or well-known writers na parang they will both benefit from. Okay? So, since you're the publisher and you are going to choose the best write-up that you are going to publish, for example, you will get income from it. And then at the same time, the writer will also get the income. But who will the important part in that cycle is the writer itself. Okay? Because even though the publisher is ready to publish almost everything, if the travel write-up or the writer is not that capable of getting the attention of the reader, it will just be waste of money and waste of time. Okay? So, we have also here guidebooks. So, we are all familiar with guidebooks, diba? It is a type of travel writing. Okay? So, guidebooks, publishing has sustained a significant blow to its bottom line as travel information has made its way online in greater volume, and the book industry as a whole has ridden the wave of digital revolution. Despite that, guidebook publishers continue to publish their traditional titles while also looking for new ways to grow their piece of travel pie. Okay? So, the most important thing here, guidebooks, they are really made to produce or to provide travel information. Okay, so let's have the next slide. Now, we are all familiar with the publishing opportunities of a travel writer, and also the rewards and the essential qualities of a travel writer. Let's start now with a short course on travel writing. Okay? And in that short course begins in finding your story. Okay? So the very first step in writing a good travel story is finding the right subject. Okay? If the topic is right, the chances of writing a compelling piece and of getting the piece published will be maximized. Okay? So a good topic is usually a marriage or a combination of passion and practicality. Okay? As a writer, you want to choose a subject that will allow you to infuse your story with a sense of connection and conviction. At the same time, you need to write about a topic that will capture an editor's attention and will fit well with the publication you've targeted. Okay, so meaning here, first, uh, focus on your topic. Okay? Find the best topic. And how can you find it? If it interests you. Okay? If it interests you. If it catches your heart or your eyes or your attention, then probably it will do the same thing to your reader. Right? Okay, same goes thing with life, di ba? If you are using a specific item or a product and then you would recommend it, what's the impact? Di ba? They will do the same thing. For example, it goes well on you or it's effective on you. They will imitate you. Same thing with travel writing. So if you choose the topic that really catches your eyes or really catches your heart, your attention, then it's probably the same thing that will happen with your reader. So there are three kinds of trends you should monitor in order to find good story ideas and get to know your market, okay? So first we have objective travel trends. It reflects traveler behavior. Okay. So it can be the the place where people are going, how they are getting there, and what they are doing when they get there. Okay? So it's more of traveler behavior, travel trends, okay? And subjective travel trends are anecdotal and open and often qualitative. Okay? Meaning, are the travelers who once flocked to Thailand now heading to Laos? Do luxury travelers consider the spa resorts in the Maldives? And if so, where are they going instead? Okay? Is Belize the new Costa Rica? Somewhere is always the new somewhere else. Okay. Are baby boomers turning to volunteer vacations to add meaning to their lives? Are eco cruises suddenly in vogue? Okay. What are your traveler passions? Think about your three most recent trips. What activities were common to all three? What are the things you seek out when you travel? The experiences that really move you. Why? Make a list of three things you love to do. Okay? So it's more on looking for quality travel. Okay? Of course, you want to travel because you want to gain new experiences. And those experiences should be unforgettable. So that, of course, it should be of quality. Okay? So the next type of trends or the travel trends, we have editorial travel trends. Okay, so these are indicated by changes in the weight of coverage given to different regions or types of travel. For example, these days almost every serious British newspaper regularly devotes coverage to European city breaks. So it's more of what's in with the editorial companies. Okay, So, it is important to know the trends of travel so that you know saan na ba ako, saan na ba yung society, saan na ba yung ah, nasaan na ba ngayon ang mga pinag-uusapan, what are the most talk about topics, what are the most sought after personalities or destinations na laging pinupuntahan, like, right? Do you still remember when Siargao was introduced? Siargao was way before then, right? Nandiyan na talaga siya. But because of the movie Siargao, directed by Sir Paul Soriano, di ba lalong tumaas yung tourism arrivals niya? Because of the trend. Okay? Now, after we determine the three different kinds of travel trends, it's the travel writer's responsibility to keep up with those trends, okay? Or para makasabay sila. Okay, so how would they do that? Finding fresh material, spotting travel trends, and keeping up to date with industry and consumer changes are essential practices for all travel writers. Okay, so how would travel writers do that to keep up with the trends? Because the travel writer knows already what is in or ano yung mga uso. So, through scanning newspaper travel sections, travel magazines, and websites will give you a feel for what your competitors are writing about and will provide you with ideas for new stories. Okay? If you follow this practice, you will also avoid the embarrassment of offering an editor a story similar to one that has been run. Okay? Reading one or two industry magazines or websites a week will keep you informed about what airlines, tour operators, hotel groups, and others in the travel industry are up to. And there are plenty of tourism facts and stats available online. Government and NGO sites are also useful. Okay? So for a travel writer to keep up with the trends, there are so many medium. Okay? We have newspaper, magazines, also online, or maybe newspaper about a certain products or suppliers of the service, for example, airlines, right? Okay, ano ba yung airlines na may promo na nakatawag ng madaming public attention, like that, so they can feature that, and then they can experience really kung ano ba talaga yung o kung ano yung actual scenario dun sa mga nag-avail ng special promo na yun. For example, the Piso Fair. Okay, they can go to Coron, for example, kasi 'di ba may mga murang packages yung mga economy airlines natin. So maybe they can put the title on their travel write-up, like for example, saan ka dadalhin ng piso mo, right? For example, it's just an example. Like that. So, they can feature yung mga trending na topic or trending in terms of the industry itself. Okay? So, maraming trending, pero sometimes it's not about the industry. Okay? So, in travel, in creating a subject about your travel, you should focus on the industry itself, okay? So, you are promoting travel, so don't go beyond the parameters of travel, okay? Now, let's have become a specialist. To make a decent living as a travel writer, you need to be able to turn your hand to a variety of travel articles. However, it can be very much to your advantage to find the niche that best fits your expertise as a writer. By narrowing your field, you can focus on a particular slice of the travel world and become an authority on it. Travel editors or possibly broadcasters will begin to recognize your skill and will think of you when they are looking for a story or comment on your subject. Specializing in this way should mean more paid work, not less, because your particular expertise will be be able to focus on your expertise as a writer. Okay? Take that as an advantage. For example, uh, you first try to travel in, for example, in a diving site. For example, you are a licensed scuba diver. Okay? So, because scuba diving, hindi lahat-lahat nakakapunta dyan. Some of the tourist arrivals in scuba diving sites are most of them foreigners, and they are licensed divers. Okay? They are certified. You cannot just dive, especially if it's really underwater. Yung talagang touch the ground na. So you cannot dive if you are not licensed. So since your advantage is you are a licensed scuba diver, and then you know na kukonti yung kakompetensya mo doon because not all of the travelers, not all of them are licensed scuba diver. Okay, so take that as your advantage. You can focus on um, featuring the different scuba diving sites. What are the pros and cons of going to scuba diving sites? Or how can you get there, for example? Kasi may mga scuba diving sites na walang accommodation. Like in Tubataha Reef, in Palawan, wala yung accommodation. Ang sinasakyan nila ay yung parang yate. That's called a live aboard. So, if pupunta ka doon, you just have to book at least 1 year in advance. Kasi kukonti lang yung nag-o-offer ng live aboard. Live aboard are like mga yate, mga yacht, na dadalhin ka talaga dun sa coast or dun sa gitna, sa gitna ng dagat, which yung area kung saan talaga maganda yung reef. At kung saan makikita yung iba't ibang unique and mga species na hindi siya laging nakikita ng mga divers. Na unique lang talaga dun sa Tubataha. Okay? So, you can use that as an advantage. Okay? And you will be sought after. You will always be called. Because that's your expertise of featuring different scuba diving sites. Okay? So, that's what we mean to become an expert or specialist to your travel write-ups. Next, we have here writing about food. So, it's just an example on our topic just earlier about to become a specialist. It's writing about food. Food travel has become a genre into itself. Excuse me. As countless studies show that these days we spend more time consuming food-related media than actually cooking our own meals. From a practical perspective, the beauty of specializing in food is what you considerably widen your market. There are as many magazines, newspapers, supplements, and websites devoted to food as there are to travel. And if you specialize in food travel, you can appeal to the audience for both. So, for example, your expertise is or your interest, inclined ka, for example, sa pagkain ng iba't ibang pagkain, right? Because as we discussed in our previous discussion, you have to be adaptable. You have to be flexible, okay? Because you are traveling from one place to another, you have to be open-minded sa lahat ng differences ng mga lugar na yon. And because you are traveling differently, place to place, syempre iba-iba yung pagkain nila. Some of them gusto mo, maybe a lot of them hindi mo gusto, or okay naman siyang kainin but you are not that familiar or you are not really used to it, or hindi ka sanay kumain nun. Like for example, you will be going to an Arab country, for example, and then you will be served with kebab, for example, or biryani, yung mga Arabic food. And then, for them, it's really delicious because it's their staple food. Like, it's their comfort food. But for you, who will be a first-timer on tasting that kind of food, it will be an on your part. Okay? So you should be adaptable at all cost. Okay? Well, we know that traveling and writing write up about food is really a perks, or it's really rewarding because you are eating, you are traveling at the same time. When you have a good travel write up, you will be earning at the same time. Okay? So this is just an example of becoming a specialist. Okay? So we have already tackled the range of publishing opportunities, how a travel write-up is getting published, what are the essential qualities of a travel writer, and we also tackled about how to find your story or how to find the right subject. Next is we also tackled understanding travel trends, how to keep with the travel trends, how to become an expert in writing. So let's have here the second step, or the next step, researching your story. Okay? So why is there a need to research your story? Okay? Whether you specialize or widen your view, each new trip poses the same question. How do you develop a story from scratch? Yes. It's the same on your side, right? When I gave you a reflection essay, how would you start forming your essay? Diba? It's really a very broad idea, and also it's starting from zero. Okay? So you've researched the publications that interest you, the passions that arouse you, and the subjects that are currently popular. Now it's time to put your research to work. A fundamental issue, particularly for aspiring newspaper and magazine writers, is the question of timing. Should you come up with story ideas before you travel or after you return? In the beginning, you may find it easier to pitch articles from trips you've already taken. You know the place and know exactly what you want to write about, making it infinitely easier for you to write a convincing proposal or query letter for that article. Okay. So, we already said that before you go to a specific place that you want to feature, you have to research. Yes? Because in researching, you have already the grasp of what kind of place you are going to visit or what kind of people you are going to meet. Okay? It's for your safety also. And it's for your initial information because you need to be oriented. Okay, so you will not you know what to expect. Okay, but you should also be as open as possible. Okay, so it's not necessary that because you know already some information about the place, you will be complacent or ano ka na lang, pabanjing-banjing ka na lang. It's not a good attitude of a travel writer. You have to be open. You have to be open to changes because sometimes yung mga na-research mo, it's not the same with the actual scenario or with the actual situation. So you have to be open enough for you to adjust yourself. For example, what you research is a negative side of the destination. And hindi naman pala siya negative. For example, so you have to be open that all of the things that you have researched for, maybe it changed because all of the things, they change over time. Okay, so maybe on that specific destination, because it's negative, so maybe na-address na siya. For example, ng community or ng LGU. So, nagbago na siya. May policy na kunwari na pinatupad. So, on your side, you should be open. And you should not tell people that you will meet in that specific place that, no, based from my research, it's like that. So, you should not tell that. Because those person will no more talk to you. Because, oh, this person know all of the things about us. So, what's the essence of talking to him? Okay, so they will be afraid because maybe they will be judged. Okay, so let's have here a type of research which a travel writer um, should be in compliance of. First is the pre-trip research. So, meaning before the trip. Whether you're hoping to pitch your story pre or post trip in order to get the most out of your journey, you'll need to do some research. Start by buying a few good guidebooks and thoroughly studying the place you're planning to visit, everything from history and cultural background to specific events and attractions. These days, many destinations have English language newspapers or magazines. You may be able to track down copies before you leave home, depending on the destination, and you can find and read many of them online. Okay, so for the pre-trip research, uh, as I said, you should make your research before you go to a specific place. Okay, whether you decide to go safari or maybe you want to go island hopping. So you have to make pre-trip research. It's for your safety, it's for your guidance, it's for your initial or additional information. And also, it is for you to be as familiar as you can, or maybe if you want to adjust your uh, your travel, for example, because maybe the destination will be affected by the current weather. For example, if you didn't make your research, then you will go there and you will not enjoy your travel because it's rainy season or it's winter. Okay. So it depends. All depends on your research. Okay. So the second kind of research is researching on the road. Use your camera to capture the look of a place. Use your cell phone or audio recorder to capture conversations, evocative sounds, and snatches of your own impressions when it's impractical to write them down. Use your journal to record on the spot notes that will bring your experience back to you later. Okay, so researching on the road, we can say it is already on the process of collecting the information or collecting the idea or collecting the additional things that you need in your travel write-up. Because you're traveling, right? For example, you are traveling and then you are riding a jeep. At first, you know, riding that jeep will not cause any or will not affect the travel, right? Ano ba naman kung sumakay ako, it's the means of going. It's the means or it's the modes of transportation going there. But you don't know. Maybe during the trip while you are riding a jeep, may makita kang interesting part. Side trip, right? You can feature that. Or maybe, habang nakasakay ka, may mga kasabay ka sa sasakyan which are talking native language. Native language, like, yung hindi mo naiintindihan, but it's their language. Okay, so you can describe, you can put inputs. Really, if, di ba, we said that you should be on all the time when you are traveling. Okay? So, it's no time for you to be complacent. Wala kang slack time. Hindi ka pwedeng to get rest, which you will be invisible. Because you really want to feature everything or at least every single part which is interesting in your travel. So you should have your proofs, you should have your evidence, you should have a live, for example, a live proof. Because if you will publish it, your editor or your publisher will look for it. Oh, where's your picture? Where's your audio recording, for example? Or where are your notes, your journal? Right? They will ask for it para masabi that you are a credible writer. Because it's really easy for a writer to come up with stories. Why? Because they are good in making one. They are good in making stories. So it's really easy for them to come up or to make stories na hindi naman talaga nangyari. That's why it's very important that as a travel writer, you have proofs to support your information. Because as we all know, you are giving information, and your information should be factual, should be the actual scenario, should be truthful. Okay. So let's have finding your focus. Okay, we have already discussed a number of ways to help you narrow your focus before and during your trip, but now let's consider the aftermath of the trip. You have just returned from 3 weeks in France and everything was great every day. Brought new discoveries and treasures, and you want to write about them all. Tempting as that may seem, writing about everything you did on holiday should be kept strictly between you and your diary. You need to find the theme that will interest an editor. Okay, so here, di ba, we say that you should be on all the time, right? But it says here, being on all the time, or everything that you have everything that you have experienced, or everything that you have saw or heard in your travel, eh hindi naman daw kailangan pala dapat i-feature. Okay, so why? You should find your focus. Okay, you should find the theme. 'Di ba may mga ano tayo, may mga types of travel writing tayo. So you can insert that, okay? Or maybe in your single travel, you can divide, for example, you can divide one article regarding food only, and then the other article regarding the modes of transportation. So it can be your theme, it can be your focus. Right? Kaya nga yung ginagawa ng ibang travel writer, sa isang travel nila, lahat ng type of travel writing meron sila. They can sell one, they can sell two, maybe the other three or the other four can be rejected by the editor. At least meron pa silang dalawa. Right? Because what they did, they chop the information, they provide a single theme, okay? Maybe they can put everything, like for example, all of the information, all of the types of travel writing in a personal essay. Because a personal essay, we said it's a first person basis. He or she can really say whatever happens. But as a reader, for example, you are going to read a travel write-up. Di ba what you are trying to find on the travel write-up is kung ano yung focus kung ano ba yung theme ng kanyang ng kanyang yung sinulat niya. Saan ba ito patutungo? Ano ba talaga yung i-feature niya? Diba? So, you should find your focus. Okay, so one thing that can help a travel writer to gather information regarding the subject or the focus that he or she wants to feature or to focus on is interviewing and note-taking. Okay? So here, since we are discussing about the writing process, here we can discuss or we can touch some of the techniques in interviewing and note-taking. So, central to the success of your travel research and writing is the ability to take good notes and to carry out efficient or effective interviews. Okay, so why is it important? Because, di ba, if you are interviewing someone, you are getting or you are asking for his views or opinions regarding certain topic or certain issues. Okay, meaning, it's a first-hand information. Sinabi sa'yo, so it's first-hand because ikaw yung unang nakarinig. Di ba? For example, si President Duterte, for example, has been interviewed by one of the media. di ba? In every station sa mga TV company, sa mga, for example, ABS-CBN, GMA, they have their own representative kung sino lang yung papupuntahin nila into the palace, into the Malacanang, para i-interview kay President, or to be the network's representative in dealing or in getting information regarding the President o yung mga happenings. So, if the spokesperson of the President will talk to you, like for example, you've been asked or you've been called to ask for a question, the way he said it towards you is first-hand. Right? It's first-hand, meaning hindi pa siya na-edit, nothing is edit out, walang tinake away na words. So, it's first-hand information, meaning, ano siya, natural information or bare. Wala pa siyang decorative words. Raw, napaka-raw pa lang ng information. Fresh. First hand. Okay? Hindi pa siya na-edit out ng ibang editors. Hindi pa siya na-edit. Hindi pa siya pinaganda. Hindi siya binawasan. Okay? So, those interviews will provide you the most honest information regarding a certain view or opinion of the speaker. Okay? Now, let's first have taking notes. Notes taken on the spot provide reliable and vivid building blocks for your story. They are also poignant keys that can unlock a flood of images and details from a particular place and experience even when you're writing your story half a year later. Fragments often do the job just fine. You just need a few words that capture the essence of the thing you want to remember. At other times, you'll want to write a more complete portrait of a moment, as the words written on the spot are inevitably the most vivid depictions of all. Okay. So, as we said, notes taken on the spot provide reliable, right? First hand, very raw information. Nothing is edited out. Nandyan, sinabi sa'yo, yun na talaga yun. So, it depends on you. Paano mo siya i-deliver? Well, the protocol, you should quote and quote, right? Even though it has been relayed on you through words because you are in the middle of an interview, it should be quote and quote. Okay? Provide the name, the reference, whoever is he, what's his position, what is his current location, for example, or because you are interviewing him, maybe you can ask for his job, right? Just to put relevance. Bakit mo siya in-interview? You are trying to focus on what subject and paano siya nakatulong doon sa subject na yon. Okay? Next way of researching or helping you to find the subject that you will going to feature in your write-up is interviewing people. Okay? Effective interviewing is an art of a different kind. Before you begin, you need to know what you want to get out of the interview. In many cases, you will simply be trying to gather hard information, and so these interviews are not likely to be particularly controversial or confrontational. But since the interview will most likely be your only opportunity to talk with this particular individual, you need to make sure you have thought out in advance everything you want to learn from your meeting. So, it is a standard that before you come to an interview, you have to prepare your questions. Okay? It's not the interviewer's role to wait for you to ask him. Because if that's the scenario, maybe he will turn away, iiwanan ka because you're just a waste of time. You are not ready enough to be talking or to be interviewing me, for example. Okay? Basically, your interviews will fall into one of two types, the official and the unofficial. Okay? The official or expert interview involves anyone who represents a place. This might be a museum curator or the director of an archaeological site, a tourism official or guide, a hotel owner or chef. In every case, your job is to glean as much relevant information from this expert as possible. You want to be friendly and non threatening, but you also want to be sure to get the information you need. If you ask a question and don't get a satisfactory answer, ask it again. Okay? In this kind of formal interview, it's vital to record the conversation. This will liberate you from note taking so that you can focus on the answers and your questions. Whenever possible, get contact information so you can follow up if a question occurs to you long after your meeting. So here, uh, it tackled the importance of a proper etiquette in dealing with an interview. So it touches the first type of interview, which is official. So it's more formal. Okay, it's formal, meaning you can interview someone who represents a specific place, for example, barangay chairman, or a mayor, or a tourism officer. While the unofficial interview is usually a conversation with a fellow traveler or a local, often used to provide a different perspective and voice for your story or to fill in background information. Your interviewing technique can be more indirect and conversational. You may decide not to record so the person you're talking to will feel at ease and converse freely. Writers who are just starting out may feel that using an audio recorder or notebook will make them seem more professional. This is not necessary. Okay? And if it makes your subject nervous or self-conscious, you may not get the free-flowing stories, information, and quotes you're hoping for. So for the unofficial interview, it's kinda informal because you are talking to a local or a fellow traveler. Okay, so what is your objective in getting in conducting an official interview? You just want to gather the most true, the most raw, the most fresh information. Okay, it's overflowing, free flowing stories. Okay, information maybe or sayings or maybe the opinions or yung beliefs ng isang taong nagsasalita. Right? Because, sabi nga dito, uh, a travel writer can choose if he wants uh, his or her interviews to be recorded. Okay? But at least you should have an etiquette that if you are going to record an interview, you should ask for the permission of your interviewer, of the interviewee, okay? The one you are getting interviewed. Because maybe they don't want, because some scenarios, they don't want their voices to be recorded. So you have to ask for permission first. Okay? As for anecdotes that illustrate a point, as for memories, if you are not recording or taking notes during the interview, write down all the important points from your conversation as soon as you possibly can. If you are planning to name and quote your interviewee, you should let them know before you begin the interview. Okay? So, since it's a protocol that if it has been said by another people, you should quote and quote. Okay? So, para alam ng mga reader na hindi naman sa'yo galing yung information na isinulat mo. But before you can do that, before you quote and quote someone, para hindi siya ma-recognize or ma-categorize as hearsays or mga chismis, you should also ask for the permission of the one you are going to quote and quote with. Okay? For example, you have interviewed Miss Berna Puyat. For example, she is not the DOT secretary. Maybe he's just a local, or she's just a local. So, upon interviewing her, ask her, "Ma'am, this is a formal interview." Or maybe Miss Pupuyat in the place is the barangay chairwoman, for example. So, ma'am, I would be stating your name because this is This is part of my research, or maybe I am writing it for an article. So ask for permission as a respect, because you are writing the words na hindi mo naman sinabi. It's from others' mouth. It came from uh, other minds, right? So in an informal situation where you won't be naming the speaker, you don't necessarily need to say that you're interviewing them for publication, but sometimes it's easier to approach someone if you say you're gathering information for a story. If you're recording the conversation or taking notes, you'll certainly want to explain why. And of course, there are times when you will be interviewing people by phone or by email, as many travel pieces these days are researched and written from home. Finally, if you do quote someone without naming them in a story or a sensitive topic, be very sure that they cannot be recognized from your writing. You do not want to do you do not want to imperil someone because they gave you important information or freely express their views to you. Okay? May utang na loob ka dun sa in-interview mo. Right? Because he or she gave you an important information. So in return, you should not cause them headache, or you should not cause them the the fact na pwede pa siyang mapahamak because he or she was featured in your writing. Okay? In all cases, it is absolutely essential for you to be accurate in quoting people you've interviewed also. It's very important. You should be accurate. That's why you need a recorder. Okay? Because you need to put the exact words that has been said. And it is important to have records from your interview, either audio or extensive notes, that you can give to an editorial fact checker if asked to verify the authenticity of your quotes. Okay, so it's really important. It's authentic. It is truthful. Okay, it is certified. Okay, it's an important requirement in publishing your story. Okay, kasi may tinatawag na editorial fact checker. So they can do background check if you really go to that place, interview that someone, and then you put all the words quoting someone na sinabi niya yon. So it's really important you have proof. You have tangible proofs to support your article. To achieve this connection, we move to the next stage, the writing. You've done your research, analyzed the market, studied yourself, and found subject that marries publishability with passion. Now you need to write to that passion. Explore it, savor it, draw it out in your prose, paint it such a complete, compelling, sensually full description that your readers will experience it just as you did. Okay. So as I said, this is just the introductory of the writing process. We'll be tackling the in-depth writing process detail by detail on our next lesson. So this will be the final module, the final chapter before, which will be part of the scope of your midterm. So go through with the PDF file that I will be attaching with together with this PowerPoint with audio. And if you have questions, you can freely chat me or you can freely message me. Okay, so good luck with your midterm. You still have a week to review. So good luck. Thank you.